Hey guys, so I have been seeing so many can crafts on social media lately, and you guys know that we made some smash cans last year, but probably the most frequent question I get is how on earth do you smash the cans? So I thought, what if I just use like cardboard, right? It's going to be a lot easier to smash than an aluminum can, and we can still make a super cute pocket. Hi, my name is Royce Hunt, owner of Roycycled Treasures. Let's get started. So I robbed my pantry for this can, and I thought I'd take out the bottom first. And this is the only can I have, you guys, so if it doesn't work, like, we're going to be in trouble. But I'm pretty sure this will work. And I've seen people use like toilet paper rolls or paper towel rolls to make like little mini cans. There's so many different versions of this project, but they are all so cute that I wanted to do my own version. And so I'm just taking this bottom like lip, kind of pushing it up, because I believe that's what's holding in this bottom section here. And I'm gonna just kind of pry it out of there. And once I get it going, I imagine it'll come out pretty easily. So that wasn't too bad, right? So now I have basically, right, a can, just like we had before, only this is gonna be a lot easier for me to smash the bottom of this. So there are several different options that I could do to close this bottom. I've seen people use hot glue or even E6000, but I honestly am thinking the best way is to staple it. So I'm just going to staple the bottom of this shut, and I'm not going to worry about the staples showing because we're going to decorate this and we're not going to see them anyways. So I'm just smashing the bottom of this, right, to create my pocket. And I'm going to use my stapler to staple the bottom. This stapler, you guys, I bought this one because my hands have good days and bad days. And so this stapler really helps me to be able to staple without having to use a ton of muscle. And I think I'm going to start by stapling the middle first, right? So that it doesn't shift and we know exactly where that is. And then I can go ahead and I think 3 staples are plenty because this is just decorative, right? So I did 2 more staples on that side, and I'll do 2 more on this side. And I'm kind of placing my staple in this ridge right here so that it will be less noticeable. Although, if it's still noticeable after we're done, I can always cheat and put some molds on the bottom to cover those up, right? So, bam, we have a pocket. Super cute, right? So let's start off with some Wise Owl Chalk Synthesis paint. I'm going to be using Antique Via. It's a warm kind of a white color. And we'll just put a nice coat of paint on here. So if you guys are new to my channel, I always paint white under my decoupage because it really helps my images pop off of my projects. And for this one in particular, it's kind of important that we cover. I don't want to see like the Quaker man do my decoupage project, right? That would not be a good look. And so I'm just going to I'll probably do a couple of coats just so that I can cover all of the topography that's on here. So now that we have our pocket all painted, you guys, just 2 coats of the Chalk Synthesis paint was enough for me to get full coverage. I should probably paint a little bit inside, but it's okay. We'll move right along today. So the next thing I'm going to do is decoupage, and you guys, I'm super excited. I'm going to be using one of the new Roycycled decoupage papers. This one is called Industrial Masterboard. So if you know anybody who does like junk journaling or mixed media, a lot of times they'll create a masterboard and then they'll use that as a backdrop for a lot of their work. So this one is made in the spirit of that. And so I can absolutely use this right on a piece of furniture, but I have all these yummy bits that I can use on smaller projects as well. And so I want this little octopus over here on my can today. So I'm going to work on getting him on there. And then we'll trim off all the excess paper, and I'll have plenty of paper to use on another project on a different day. So I want this guy coming around here. And so I'm just going to go ahead and cut off this square here. So I'm actually cutting off about 1/4 of this sheet for this project. I really want to make sure I get my octopus on this. I'm debating if I should wrap it or if I should do the front and back separately. I think I'm going to do them separately because I'm already battling with the fact that the top is fat and the bottom is skinny. And then wrapping it all the way around is actually creating a different kind of tension. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim this paper. I'll just cut it in half. I know I have plenty of paper. And I'll do the front and the back in 2 separate pieces. And if I'm going to hang this, I really don't have to do the back, but I like having options. If you guys enjoy the tutorials that we do here on the Roycycled channel, be sure and subscribe. If you hit the bell, you'll actually get an alert of when we upload new videos. Now today I'll be using Wise Owl's 1 Hour Enamel to decoupage. You guys know that that's my favorite. And this is the matte formula because I don't like shine, but the 1 Hour Enamel is available in a satin and a semi-gloss. So if you like a glossier surface, that is an option for you. And so I have it where I want it, and I'm all set up. So I'm just going to start on this side and work my way across. And I'm just going to lay my 1 Hour enamel down. I'm using it as both an adhesive and to seal my paper. When I'm using my spatula, I'm not putting a lot of pressure on my paper. I want to be mindful that this is wet tissue paper, right? So I'm just going over it really lightly. My primary purpose is to make sure that there's really good contact between the paper and the surface of my project. You guys will notice that I am just pushing it down as I go across, pushing out any air that may be trapped under the paper. If you want like a super detailed instructional video on how to decoupage, check out my playlist here. I have several videos where I go step by step on how to decoupage. Don't you just love him? He's perfect. So now I'm going to decoupage the back and figure out which parts of the paper I want to show. I really want there to be as little overlap as possible, so I'm just kind of eyeballing and folding my paper to decide how I'm going to trim it. And I can just cut right here along this edge, and I know that it's going to fit perfectly. And this is the back, so I mean, I guess it's nice if it's perfect, but it doesn't have to be, right? Now when I'm working with my felt spatula, I'm being really cautious not to get any of the product on my felt. I'm just making sure all my pieces are tacked down really well. And then I'm going to actually go over the top of this. And seal my paper. Using the same product that I use to adhere it to my surface. So I'm going to take a few moments. I'm going to dry this first and then we'll trim it. I think I changed my mind. You guys know I'm going to change my mind at least once every time we do a tutorial together, right? I'm going to go ahead and just fold this over and tack it to the top, but we'll trim the bottom though. And the way I'm going to trim it is I'm going to use a sanding block. And this is just going to trim it perfectly right on the bottom of my can, right? Now you guys will see here, I tore it. It wasn't quite dry right there when I trimmed it, but I'm not going to stress out about that because I can cover that later. I'm going to go ahead and just put a little bit of product on the inside of this, and I'm going to fold this over. That way, if somebody peeks inside after I've put in my succulents, they'll just see this design rather than the brown. Alrighty. I think I need something more though, you guys. What do you think? I'm thinking that we need to grunge it up a little bit, and I'm thinking that some gears would be really cute on this. So let me grab some of my Would You Bend gears, you guys, and we're gonna zhuzh this up just a little bit more. So I have these gears from Would You Bend, you guys. I love Would You Bend because it acts like wood, except when it's warm, and then it gets, you can actually bend it, hence the name Would You Bend. So I just want to stack some of these on here. I think they will be super cute. And we're just going to go all out steampunk on this piece. And the cool thing about the Would You Bend is I can actually warm it up so that it wraps around my can, which is what I'm going to do ultimately. And I think I'll use one down here to kind of cover up our boo-boo too. So we'll use these and we'll put these away for another day. But before we put them on, let's give them a coat of paint. And I'm just going to do something super quick. And yes, I'm off script right now. You guys know I am, right? But it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I am going to do a coat of black paint on here. And then I'm going to go over it with some of the Wise Owl's bronze, which is my new favorite. The bronze, copper has always been my favorite traditionally, but I am really loving the Heavy Metals bronze color. And I think I'm going to put a little bit of salt wash in here. I'm really making sure that I'm getting into all of those nooks and crannies. Now these pieces have a lot of different sides to them, so make sure you look at them from different angles so that you can make sure that you're getting full coverage. Okay, we're gonna let these dry while we add some grunge to our can. You guys know I'm gonna be using the Iron Orchid Design inks to do my grunge. I like using the ILD inks because they are not color fast. So when I go over to seal my piece, I know that this ink is going to not smear. So that's why I like using the ILD ink for these projects. And I'm using black and turmeric to kind of make my grungy color for my paper. I feel like a mad scientist. Let's see. That may be a little darker than I want. And so I just play around until I get the color that I want, because I want it to definitely be a really warm color, which is why I like using the turmeric. And so I'm going to load my pouncer here. And this is just, I don't know what these are called. I know they have a name, but they're from Ranger, but I'll make sure and put a link in the comments for you guys. So I'm just going to take this and go along my edges here. And I'm going around the edges. I could go in there and do some more grunge work, but I think I'm going to just stick to the edges for this because this paper already has quite a bit of character in it. So I don't really need to add a whole bunch. I just love that rich color that you get with the turmeric, and then the black just deepens it. And I'm going to get rid of anything that's white, that's left over from the white paint, using my pad as well. It looks like my paper is lifting, so I'll go back in there and decoupage just to make sure that my paper is tacked down really well. And so in order to set my ink so that it doesn't run when I seal my piece, I am going to go back over it with my craft dryer. And the heat from the craft dryer is actually what's going to set my ink. Now that I've gone through and kind of added some character to my piece, and I really heated it up pretty good, you guys, with my craft dryer, not holding it too close, right? Because I don't want my paint or my decoupage to bubble, but really warming that up so that my ink will set, and I don't have to worry about it running when I go over my piece with my sealer. And also checking any of my edges where I may have paper lifting and just going underneath them with my brush to make sure that they're tacked down. Now that I have my pocket all nice and grunged up, you guys, I want to add some gears. And I'm going to dry brush a metallic on here, but I think I'm going to wait until after I have them all glued on my piece to go in with my metallic. So the cool thing about Would You Bend, you guys, is you see that it's a really hard product, right? It doesn't bend. But all I have to do is heat it up and those pieces become malleable. It's super cool. And so now that it's warm, look at that, I can bend it. So what makes this cool is I can actually bend this around my piece, and I don't have to fight with it because it's going to bend super easy. And so let's build our gears. And I am just using Type Bond Quick and Thick, but you can use any glue that you have. Wood glue does work best with the Would You Bend product. And I'm just going to hold that down for a few minutes until it adheres. And even if you're not bending your Would You Bend, it's a good idea to heat it up before you glue it. It actually improves the adhesion of your piece and makes the product work better. Now I'm using my craft gun because these Would You Bend pieces are so small. If you're working with thicker pieces, you may have to use like your heat gun. But for these small pieces, my craft dryer is perfect. How cool is that, you guys? So just a few gears here and a few over here, and you can see that the glue is white, but don't worry, as it dries, that glue will be clear. But if you are gluing something and there's glue like squeezing out and that's bothering you, you guys, I just take a simple small brush and I just go in and just pat that glue out. That way you don't have to worry about it. So if it dries clear, fine. If it doesn't, fine, because you removed it before it's had a chance to dry fully. So I'm just going to go in, you guys, this is Wise Owl's Heavy Metals Metallic Bronze Paint. And I'm going to dry brush over these just to bring out the details of the gears and to add more interest to my piece. I could probably go on forever. So we're going to dry brush and then I'm going to stop, you guys. You guys are going to have to help me stop because I'll keep going. And just dry brush that over the top really quickly. And you can see how it just brings out those details that maybe you weren't able to see before when it was just the flat black. And that's it, you guys. So what I'll do is I'll use my hole puncher and I'll punch 2 holes here on the side because, again, we're just using cardboard, right? And I'll use a string, or I'll probably find a bronze chain, actually. And I'm probably going to put succulents in mine, but I'll stage it and take a nice photo, and then I'll show you guys the finished product. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. This was a super fun project to make. I'm kind of excited to see how it's going to look because I think it's going to go on my porch. I'm pretty sure it's going to go on my porch. But again, we just used a carton from, a round carton from my cornmeal. You can use an oatmeal carton. You can use tissue rolls or paper towel rolls to do the same thing. We used Roycycled industrial masterboard decoupage paper along with Wise Owl's 1 Hour enamel clear and matte to decoupage. We also played with a little bit of Iron Orchid Design inks, you guys. I used turmeric and black so that we could add some grunge to our piece. And we topped it off with some Would You Bend gears painted with Wise Owl's black chalk synthesis paint and highlighted using the Wise Owl heavy metal in bronze. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today. You guys remember, you guys can do anything that you've seen me do here today. You can do this, you can do it today. We'll see you next time.